Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. A petition to nullify 150 billion in unprogrammed appropriations in the 2026 national budget has been filed before the Supreme Court. The petitioners claim the presence of standby funds not only threatens transparency and accountability in the use of public funds, but also violates several provisions in the Constitution.
And fellow senators call out Senator Amy Marcos on recent statements criticizing the 2026 budget and the Blue Ribbon Committee's investigation into the flood control scandal.
President Bongbong Marcos orders a general amnesty on interest and penalties for unpaid contributions of PhilHealth members. The president hopes that this will help members to settle long-standing contribution backlogs.
Yan yung nagamit sa pinakamalaking nakawan sa bayan. Yung dapat sana nating mga pinakikinabangang proyekto at programa na ng gobyerno na baliwala, napalitan ng mga ghost projects, napalitan ng mga substandard projects.
Just 3 days after being signed, the 2026 national budget gets its first court challenge. 2 minority lawmakers ran to the Supreme Court
And ask the justices to strike down the remaining unprogrammed appropriations in the spending program.
But the Department of Budget and Management maintains that these unprogrammed funds are constitutional. Camille Samonte has tonight's top story.
Minority lawmakers Leila de Lima of ML Party List and Edgar Erice of Caloocan 2nd District personally appeared before the Supreme Court this morning to file a petition for certiorari and prohibition. They're asking the SC to declare the 150 billion peso unprogrammed appropriations in the 2026 national budget unconstitutional. Unprogrammed funds are standby items in the budget with no clear funding source. They will only be funded once there's an excess in government revenues or a foreign loan approved. Congress ratified this year's budget with 243 billion pesos unprogrammed funds, but the president vetoed 7 of 10 items worth 92.5 billion pesos. Both lawmakers are petitioning for the High Court to issue a temporary restraining order to stop the implementation of the remaining 3 items. De Lima and Erice argued that there is a grave abuse of discretion in passing the unprogrammed appropriations. They said these do not adhere to the constitutional provision mandating clear source of funding for expenditures. Petitioners stress that the charter is avoiding a situation such as the presence of unprogrammed funds. The lawmakers also wanted to declare all provisions related to unprogrammed appropriations as null and void.
Kaya kami dumudulog ngayon para mag-guide na ang Kongreso. Kasi ina-expect namin na hanggat walang magiging malinaw na ruling ang Supreme Court tungkol sa constitutionality ng unprogrammed appropriations na it runs in the billions. Ito ay nagiging source din ng abuso. Nakita natin yan doon sa 2025 budget. Dahil nga ay nagiging libre na kasi yung executive sa nagiging rin yan ng discretionary spending.
De Lima added that all important projects should be placed under program funds. For Erice, unprogrammed appropriations have become a potent source of corruption in infrastructure projects.
Yan yung nagamit sa pinakamalaking nakawan sa bayan. Di ba tinanggal yung mga mahalagang mga items sa NEP, inilagay sa unprogrammed funds. At yung dapat sana nating mga pinakikinabangang proyekto at programa na ng gobyerno na baliwala, napalitan ng mga ghost projects, napalitan ng mga substandard projects.
Among the respondents in the petition are Congress, the Budget Department, and Executive Secretary Ralph Recto. The DBM maintained that unprogrammed appropriations are within the bounds of the Constitution. They argued that High Court has long recognized these items as standby funds, just what the President recently said These are not blank checks that could be spent anytime. The DBM stressed that 150 billion peso on program appropriations for 2026 is the lowest in 7 years. Note that the President's first enacted budget in 2023 contained a whopping 807 billion for unprogrammed funds. The DBM said this year's outlay only shows that safeguards are in place in the current budget. For News 5, I'm Kapatid Camille Samonte. We are One News.
Now let's discuss the arguments raised by Representatives De Lima and Erice over the 2026 budget with retired Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Good evening, Justice Carpio. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening. Good evening to our viewers.
Justice Carpio, how sound are the arguments raised by the legislators?
Well, they are using the argument advanced by Justice Hernando in the PhilHealth case that the unprogrammed appropriation must be supported by a budget of expenditures and sources of financing, because that's what the Constitution says. And the unprogrammed appropriation is not based on a budget of expenditures and sources of financing, because it depends on whether there are excess revenue collections from certain classes of sources of revenue. No, so that's basically the argument, I believe, of the petitioners now.
Having been a petitioner in that particular case, do you support this petition by Erice and De Lima?
Well, yes, it's the argument raised by Justice Hernando is worth testing, but we will not be filing our own petition, the Sambayan. But if there is a release of funds for the unprogrammed appropriation, that's when we will file a petition, because under the PDAF ruling, the excess collections must not arise only from dividends from GOCCs, but must come from all classes of revenues, revenues from tax collections, revenues from non-tax sources like regulatory fees. So it cannot just be from one source, no. So we will wait until there is actually a release of funds. But I'm happy that this issue was raised by Congressman Erice and Congresswoman De Lima. No?
Justice, speaking of the 60 billion in PhilHealth funds that was ordered by the Supreme Court to be returned or restored to the budget, were you happy with how they actually did that? Which is because a lot of people are criticizing, they're saying, you know, we paid for it twice because they didn't actually get the original money and restore that, but instead they put it in the budget. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's not the ideal thing that we want. We would have wanted that the source of reimbursement would come from collections from those who run away with the money, those who are guilty of anomalies in the flood control projects. You have this DPWH officials who have been returning funds. We would like the reimbursement to come from such funds, no? If the people involved in these anomalies are convicted, they will be required to reimburse the government. That would have been the ideal source of reimbursement. Only if there is a shortfall when reimbursement from these recoveries from those who were guilty of the flood control scams would not be sufficient. That's when the reimbursement should come from the budget. Because the reason is that we are actually, if the reimbursement is taken from the budget, it's actually us reimbursing, no? Because that will come from our own taxes, and that will be a double whammy on all of us. So, but it's there already. It's already in the law, so we'll just accept it as it is.
What about the 107 billion that they swept from the PDIC? Is the Isang Bayan Coalition also planning to, quote-unquote, go after that?
Yes, we have demanded that the Secretary of Finance and the National Treasurer should return the 107 billion that they took from PDIC, because that's not money of the government, that's money of the depositors. The government is just holding that in trust for depositors. No? So actually, the court has already ruled in the PhilHealth cases that the Secretary of Finance has no authority to transfer funds from GOCCs to the National Treasury to fund the unprogrammed appropriation. But what Secretary Frederick Go said is that the decision in PhilHealth did not order the return of PDIC funds. Of course, the court did not order because PDIC was not a petitioner, or the depositors of the banks did not file a petition. But the underlying reason is the same. In the PhilHealth case, the Supreme Court said that the Secretary of Finance has no authority to transfer funds, trust funds of PhilHealth to finance or to fund the unprogrammed appropriation. It's the same. So if the DOF Secretary will not authorize the return, we'll have to go to the Supreme Court and get a specific ruling. It will take time, but I don't know why they don't want to return when it's very clear it should be returned.
Well, Justice, the transfer of funds back is one thing, but what about holding those liable accountable? Those who even made this whole process allow this whole process, especially those who introduced that special provision in the BICAM, in the 2024 GAA, that allowed the government to get excess revenues. Should cases be filed also against them?
Well, there are pending cases against them already, filed by some other organizations, and we will leave that at that. The facts are not yet all in, because we still don't know who actually authored that insertion, that special provision 1D of the unprogrammed appropriation authorizing the Secretary of Finance to transfer supposedly excess funds. No, there are still some facts that have not been disclosed, so we are still looking at that.
Now moving on to the anti-corruption campaign of the administration and the effort to demand accountability seems to have fizzled out. What is your own assessment?
Again, please.
For instance, the ICC's task is winding down. It's down to just one commissioner. How do you assess the effort of the government to hold those behind the flood control scam accountable? It seems to have fizzled out.
Yeah, I think the Ombudsman has all the powers to investigate this and to file criminal cases against those responsible. We don't need an ICI. That was created because at that time there was a vacancy in the Ombudsman, and people were not too happy with the previous Ombudsman. So, but now I think the incumbent Ombudsman is quite serious in going after the flood control scams, those who are liable for these flood control scams. So I think the investigation should be now turned over to the Ombudsman.
Mm-hmm. Do you still see the need, Justice, for a legislated body to take over the task of the ICI?
Well, actually, there is no need, because the Constitution has empowered the Ombudsman to investigate any official in government. No? He has constitutional authority. What is needed is if he lacks personnel, lawyers, investigators. The Congress should provide the funding so he can hire these people. But in terms of power, the power is all there in the office of the Ombudsman.
I guess one of the issues also, Justice Carpio, is the speed, right? We were so excited, hoping it would be done by December 15 or something big would happen by then. Obviously, if you look realistically, it might be a stretch, right, for courts to move that fast. In your assessment, how long could it take before we could see, a quote-unquote big fish held accountable?
Well, I think the announcement that they would be able to get warrants of arrest by December, by Christmas time, I think that was too optimistic. I think it should come out. Those warrants of arrest can be issued either this month or early next month. But December, it was just too optimistic.
Well, it was no less than Ombudsman Remulla who also said that they learned a lesson from that, Justice, na they shouldn't give timelines or deadlines anymore or even name names. So do you agree with that? Is that something they should have avoided to begin with because it created expectations for the public?
Yes, I understand that, but they were also under pressure because the public the entire country was up in arms against these anomalies now, against these scams. So that's understandable, but I think these things don't happen that fast. The justices in the Sandigan Bayan will have to study carefully the information and. They have, before they can issue a warrant of arrest, there must be sufficient evidence also.
Would it make sense also, this was brought up at some point, to make a special division of the court to try those implicated in the flood control mess? What are your thoughts on that, Justice?
Yes, I have suggested that because most of these cases will fall under the jurisdiction of the Sandigan Bayan. And under the rules of the Sandigan Bayan, the presiding justice can request the Supreme Court to create special divisions in case there is a need. So it's up to the presiding justice and the justices of the Sandigan Bayan if there is a need, because they know their dockets. They know. If there is a need to create new divisions, but the members of the new divisions will come from existing justices. They will not be appointed. So it's really up to them, no? Depending on their caseload.
Justice Carpio, February is but a month away, and there is that looming VP Sara impeachment round 2. But when can we expect the Supreme Court to decide on the motions pending pertaining to the first impeachment complaint?
Well, we really cannot tell the Supreme Court to decide that. It's they control their docket. But after February 6, a new impeachment complaint can be filed, whether there is a decision by the Supreme Court or not. So. But of course, if a new impeachment complaint is filed, the issue is whether the House will follow the new rules prescribed by the Supreme Court, and they'll have to decide whether they will accept those new rules already, or whether they will ignore those new rules. And what will happen there is VP Sara will go to the Supreme Court and assail the non-observance of the new rules.
But there is as well a pending case or a complaint before the Ombudsman. So that could also have its own timeline.
Well, the Ombudsman, because VP Sara is an impeachable officer, the most that he can do is to submit his findings to the House for the House to file the impeachment complaint. No? So the Ombudsman, the only role of the Ombudsman is to conduct the investigation and turn over the results of his investigation to the House.
What would your what would be the proper manner by which the House of Representatives should tackle, should there be a second impeachment complaint? The stricter rules that the Supreme Court had made with its decision, or the old rules?
Well, the way I look at it, the new rules will practically kill the impeachment because there will be a hearing at the plenary level, and that will take time. And it's what will be conducted at the Senate level will be first conducted at the plenary level in the House. So it's really a redundancy. So I think the House should raise it again in the Supreme Court that if you do this, practically you cannot impeach anyone anymore because of the timeline. Because if you have a hearing at the plenary level, there's not enough time. The Constitution gives the plenary only, I think, if I recall correctly, about 3 session days to submit it to the Committee on Justice. So there's really no time to conduct a hearing.
All right. We have to end it there. Retired Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, we thank you for your time.
And still related to the budget, Senator Amy Marcos has claimed that the 2026 outlay will be used to attract votes for a renewed push on Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment did not sit well with some senators. The president's sister accused lawmakers yesterday of shoring up funds for so-called soft pork programs to bankroll the vice president's impeachment. But Senator Erwin Tulfo, who did not sign last year's impeachment complaint when he was still a sitting congressman, says the budget was not designed for politicking.
That's her opinion. Pero kung sa akin, wala naman ako nakikita na ganun. So, I don't think so. Ako as vice chair, wala akong nakita na pondo para gamitin to operate against the vice president for her impeachment.
And it's not only the budget. Senator Marcos also claimed that ever since Senator Rodante Marcoleta was ousted as chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee, they were not allowed to question high-ranking officials tied to the flood control mess anymore. These officials include the president's cousin, former Speaker Martin Romualdez, whom Senator Marcos accused of being the mastermind behind the corruption mess. It is a claim belied by Senate President Tito Soto. It's impossible, he says, because no one is preventing anyone from pursuing culprits in the corruption scandal. Soto adds that Marcos's claim is just, quote, an invention. And as for Senator Ping Lacson, who replaced Marcoleta as Blue Ribbon Committee chair, he chose not to dignify what he deemed as unfair, untruthful, and baseless allegations from his colleague.
Now on to another story. Ombudsman Boying Remulla has asked the National Bureau of Investigation to probe social media posts falsely claiming he was hospitalized. Speaking at his first press conference of 2026, Remulla said those behind the posts may already be liable for cyber libel, stressing the misinformation crossed legal limits. He also denied the claim, saying he remains healthy and fully capable of performing his duties. Remulla added the posts appear to be part of an orchestrated propaganda effort and warned that letting such acts pass could encourage worse attacks in the future.
Talaga makikita mo yung bad faith. We've reached the limit of cyber libel already. Sometimes, you really have to extract justice from people. Hindi mo talaga pwedeng pabayaan na lang. Kasi pattern to, parang dry run to, for things to come later on. Kung ginagawa nila ito ngayon, gagawin pa nila lalo yan. Pag hindi yan nasawata. Pag hindi naawat yan.
We're just gonna take a quick break, but coming up, we go live in Albay where Mayon volcano's eruption continues. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching the big story here on One News. Several areas in Albay have seen ash fall as Mayon volcano continues to emit thick smoke under alert level 3. Among those affected by the ash fall is Legazpi City. Now let's get updates on the ground. We have with us News 5's Gio Robles. Gio, around what time did you start experiencing this ash fall?
Says, glad to see you. But before that, let me begin with residents evacuated from the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone of Mayon volcano increased to nearly 1,000 families or over 3,000 residents. Earlier today, we chanced upon some residents from Barangay Anuling in Camalig Town fleeing their homes amid the Alert Level 3 status raised for Mayon by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS. This morning, a new dark lava dome formed at Mayon's crater, sending fast-moving pyroclastic flows or uson down its slopes. PHIVOLCS reported nearly 50 flows. In 1993, more than 70 people were killed after being hit by uson. One of the survivors is Arnulfo Arias. He was 24 years old at that time and living in Barangay Matanag here in Legazpi City. Now 58, the scars remain. Third-degree burns still mark different parts of his body, permanent reminders of how close he came to death. Arias says he was farming near the foot of the volcano when the area was suddenly engulfed in smoke and ash. To this day, Arias says the trauma remains from the uson that nearly took his life. Meantime, ash clouds rose 1,000 meters and drifted west-northwest, leaving light ashfall here in Legazpi, Ligao, Bakakay, Camalig, and Daraga. Earlier today as well, Secretary of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, Rex Gatchalian, personally visited Albay. And kanina nung nakausap natin siya, he made sure na yung mga relief packs na ipapamahagi sa mga evacuees ay hindi lang sapat kundi sobra pa, kasi from 2023 na experience daw ni Gatchalian when he was first appointed, when he was a new secretary of the DSWD, umabot ng 6 months yung mga residente sa mga evacuation center. So sabi niya ngayon, nasa 144,000 ang mga relief packs na nakaredy nang i-distribute. On top of that, may 100,000 pa na mga relief packs na manggagaling sa Maynila and even in Cebu. Ses, back to you.
Thank you, Gio Robles, for your update. Now, PHIVOLCS is monitoring new dark lava domes at the summit of Mount Mayon. A dark lava dome forms when thick lava accumulates as it squeezes out of a volcano vent, which could lead to hot ash or pyroclastic flows. Let's discuss this with Mariton Bornas, Chief of PHIVOLCS Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division, who joins us once again on the show. Good evening to you. And please describe for us how dangerous this dark lava dome could be, Mariton.
Hello, good evening po, Tess, Shawn, and Pauline. No? So, it's a typical feature of Mayon effusive eruptions that it forms lava domes. And in fact, oftentimes the eruptions also end in the formation of a final lava dome, no, at the summit of Mayon. So we rarely see Mayon without this dome at the center of the crater. Now, this one that we have, that we posted information a while ago in our social media pages, is a newly formed one. So the pre-existing one was already pushed out. That's why around 7:05 this morning, there was considerably voluminous pyroclastic density current, or uson, which fell on the south, but more prominently to the eastern sector of the volcano, which spooked a lot of people actually.
So what comes next? Go ahead.
And if people notice the ash from this uson was a bit brownish, no, because that is the old dome. So after that, we already saw this newly formed, very dark, no, because new lava is actually very dark. Lava dome. And we expect the dome to shed a more pyroclastic density currents and rockfall, and also facilitate the formation of a lava flow. In fact, right now, there is already an incipient lava flow forming on two fronts of the dome, One is the one facing the Bongo Gully, and the other one is facing the Miisi Gully. These are on the southeastern and southern upper slopes of the volcano. So the lava dome will not only produce the rockfall and pyroclastic density currents, but it will also facilitate the formation of lava flows from the crater of the volcano.
Okay, so Ms. Mariton, I guess the question now is, are these events enough for FIVOLCS to increase the alert level from 3 to 4? And, could things get worse, basically?
Right now, no, because again, this is a typical feature of Mayon eruptions, and in fact, dome formation is a part of the effusive form of eruption of Mayon. This is just a quiet effusion or extrusion of fluidal, no, sometimes a bit stiff lava, which is associated with just the formation of lava flows, which might also bring pyroclastic density currents and rockfall when the margins of the lava flows collapse, no? Like the dome itself is collapsing. Now, what we can look out for, or we will look out for, is if the domes actually produce a plug. You know, if the dome actually plugs the magma that is trying to come out, then that will induce pressurization of the edifice and might lead to an explosion. But as of now, we don't see that. What we see is that the lava dome is actually facilitating the formation of new lava on two gullies of the upper slopes.
Well, with that said, Mariton, what are some of your reminders for residents in surrounding areas? What should they keep in mind?
Okay, so again, for our kababayans in Albay province, we know the drill. We should remain evacuated or cease from entering the 6-kilometer radius permanent danger zone because there are volcanic hazards that may affect us if we have long larger pyroclastic density currents flowing down the slopes, or if we have rockfall, because these events do not only produce debris on the slopes, but they also produce projectiles, no, that are bouncing, rock projectiles that are bouncing around and can impact us like bullets. No? So let's stay away from the 6-kilometer radius. We can also have sudden minor explosions that can produce ballistic projectiles that can also hit us. And of course, anytime the volcano might choose to escalate its activity, so it's better to stay out of the 6-kilometer radius. And for our communities that are outside the 6-kilometer radius and inside the 8-kilometer radius, we also need to be prepared just in case the volcano's behavior escalates and the alert level needs to be raised and evacuation further away from the 6-kilometer radius has to be undertaken.
Well, Mariton, we thank you for your reminders. That was Mariton Bornas, Chief, FIVOLCS Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division. Thank you.
Well, meanwhile, more Nazarene devotees are now in Quirino Grandstand for the annual Pahalik and in anticipation of the Traslasyon tomorrow. And joining us from the ground is our mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, kamusta na ba ang sitwasyon dyan? At pakikwento naman sa amin kung paano ba nagsimula ang tradisyon ng Pahalik.
Ladies, magandang gabi. So far dito ngayon sa Quirino Grandstand, punong-puno pa rin at hindi nauubos yung pila ng mga tao na hinihintay yung pagkakataon nila para sa tradisyonal na pahalik o yung pagkakataon na malapitan yung replika o imahe ng Poong Jesus Nazareno at maipahid yung kanilang towel, yung kanilang mga relic, rosaryo o maging kanilang mga sarili lamang kahit ilang saglit lang dahil nga dated ba ito back to ancient practices or traditions na pagdating daw sa mga relics, iba-iba yan. Merong sinasabi dahil daw pagka nakakuha ng pagkakataon na makalapit o madampian yung isang bagay na may kabanalan, makakakuha ka raw ng pagpasa ng powers nito. Pero sa mga Katoliko naman, yung sa mga deboto, pinaniniwalaan nila na yung opportunity na makalapit o mahalikan itong imahen, para magkaroon sila ng pagkakataon na maramdaman yung posibleng himala, yung paglakas daw ng kanilang loob, pagtitibay ng kanilang mga puso, at para rin daw makatanggap ng biyaya, ng basbas at paniniwala rin ng iba, magkakaroon pa ng himala sa kanilang mga buhay. Pero karamihan sa mga deboto na kausap natin, ang rason talaga nila para dito ay yung moment ng koneksyon kasama ang imahe ng Poong Jesus Nazareno. So marami-rami yung mga paniniwala ng mga tao dito, pero nauuwi siya sa kanilang pananampalataya na ito yung kanilang debosyon sa imahe ng Jesus Nazareno. Dito sa likuran kasi natin ngayon, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pila ng mga tao hanggang bukas yan, hanggang tuloy-tuloy kasi ang pahalik. Even though magsa-start yung traslasyon, yung may misa kasi ito ng kating gabi ng 3 a.m. and then magsisimula na siya ng madaling araw, 4, 5, magsisimula na yung pinakarutan traslasyon. Same route pa rin siya. Yung pahalik hindi pa siya matatapos hanggat marami pang tao ang daragsa dito. Sa ngayon, yung mga insidenteng nangyayari dito, ang common pa raw ng mga kaso, yung mga nahihilo, nagkakaroon ng pagtaas ng BP, kaya marami na estasyon, over 20 medical stations ang nakapaligid dito, hindi sa Quirino Grandstand, sa paligid mismo ng Kamaynilaan at ruta ng traslasyon para masiguro na lahat ng emergencies maaaksyonan at mabibigyan agad ng medikal na atensyon. San kanina rin sa Quiapo Church naman, around the afternoon, 5 o'clock, nagsimula na yung mga misa hanggang bukas yan, pahating gabi, 11 o'clock midnight, hanggang 12 o'clock midnight, hanggang makarating ang imahen sa Quiapo Church. Ladies.
Alright, maraming salamat para sa update na yan. Mobile journalist Merymon Reyes.
We're going to pause for another quick break, but right after that, we talk to the founder of Junk Not, an interior design and
Sustainability. And joining us now is Junk Not founder and principal designer Wilhelmina Garcia. May I call you Willie?
Yes.
Welcome to the big story and thank you for coming all the way from Binyan, Laguna.
Thank you for having
Tell
me.
us the beginnings of Junk Not. How did the idea come?
Started.
Yeah.
So I'm an interior designer by profession and I came from a family of eco-activists. So at a young age, exposed na kami with social issues, specifically waste management. So yun, since then, I started experimenting on how to upcycle all these plastic waste collected from our cleanup, the coastal cleanup, together with my sister and friends. And then there, I started with bags, and then now I focus on home furnishing.
Let's bring out that stool, that beautiful stool.
Take the bag and
the
I will
bag.
grab the stool.
You wouldn't even think it's plastic.
It's plastic.
Yeah.
So this is silver is the inside part of the wrapper. So
Of the candy.
the wrappers, the
mga
chips,
chips.
yeah, oo.
Chirya.
Yes. So kaya silver siya. It's all hand twined and collected. The plastic waste are collected by women in the household waste segregation. So hindi ako nagbibigay ng basura sa kanila. It's all household waste collection.
Sila na yung nagko-collect mismo.
Yes, sa bahay sa mga bahay nila. And then they twine it manually. Tinuro ko sa kanila how to
That is
twine
what you
it.
developed, the technique of
Yes.
twining.
Yes.
Maybe we could get a close up. It looks very durable, no?
Yeah, it's durable.
Mahirap ba yun
I have
gawin?
it, yes, mahirap. Sakit sa kamay.
Mahirap siya. I've seen the nanays do it at Willie's studio and yes, nagkakakalyo sila.
Yes.
But they love it. And also, unahan na kita, Willie, to say that they are very happy with the compensation that you provide.
Yeah. Matibay siya.
Yes, matibay. I have it tested, the tensile and compression test in the OST. So, it's durable for furniture use.
But you also have a program where companies can provide you the waste
Yeah.
and use that particular waste for their own needs
Yes.
na may discount.
Yes.
Ilan yung mga ganitong kumpanya? And
Yeah, marami. Kasi I don't accept donation of waste. It has to go back to them in a product form. Para circular. Kasi hindi ako
kung hindi
tapunan ng basura
matatambak,
nila.
para magiging tambakan ka na lang kung ganon.
Hindi ako basurahan nila, di ba?
Okay.
So, yun, I turn it into, especially, ang dami nilang mga old uniform. I turn it into,
you also do that now.
yeah, trophies, and may isa akong project, ginawa namin blanket, yung mga old uniform nila, and they donated it to typhoon victims. So, ganun, circular parati yung approach. May ginawa din akong mural.
Hindi na lang siya limited to itong mga twine products.
Yes.
When did this program
Depende.
start naman?
It started actually matagal na yan eh. Nag-materialize lang because of the EPR law. Kasi the Extended Producer's Responsibility. So, because of that law, nag-materialize yung
I
program
see.
ko.
They found a way. Dati you were offering this service, but there.
Yes, no one.
That's why you need rin laws sometimes,
Yes.
to push
Yeah.
companies
Yeah.
to be more sustainable.
Yeah.
Like what? Are you at liberty to name a few?
One is McDonald's, yung mga old uniform, old tables and chairs nila was turned into a school chair, tapos dinonate nila sa public school. Kasi they renovating their branches nationwide, so saan nila dadalhin yung mga old furniture. So yun yung ginawa naming project sa kanila. And another project with Manulife, yung mga old uniform nila, ginawa naming mural, and then I also engaged the employee to do some parts of the mural.
To contribute in.
Yes,
Where is the mural in their head office?
Yes, in Makati. So ganon, maraming pwedeng solution
So they
sa
can
basura.
go to you and then you come up with the idea.
Yes.
Ito yung basura namin, pakihanapan ng paraan.
Yes, iba-iba. Marami kasing klaseng basura. Depende sa company.
But will you tell us also about the communities that you help? Kasama na doon yung those around Taal Volcano.
Yes, they are originally from Taal Volcano. Before it erupted, beneficiary ko na sila. Now, they were displaced in different municipality, in Ibaan, Balete, and Laurel, Batangas. So now, they're
permanently
93.
lumikas
yes.
sila.
They're now, 93 women na sila. Yan, dami.
Gusto ko lang, kasi
tibay
hindi siya
talaga.
mukhang, at saka hindi siya mukhang
Hindi siya mukhang
cheap.
what it is.
I mean, di ba, you can have something na mukhang recycled, but it looks very
This looks
fancy.
like chain armor. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, this can be made, this can be,
Even the handle, it's old
Upcycle.
jeans, yes. The lining, ganon.
what about this? Hindi.
Hindi na.
Oo, you
New
have to
part.
add naman
Yes.
durable implements. So these women, you were saying 98 women,
93 women.
93 women, how do they earn? Paano ang bayad sa kanila?
So they collect waste material from their household, tapos tinatwine nila manually, and per yard yung bayad namin. Depende on the so walang pressure. Kung ano lang yung
Yeah.
time nila,
Okay.
spare time nila. They
Okay.
can earn from 500 to
Depende gaano kang
3,000.
kasigasig
Yes,
gumawa.
Are they all women?
Yes, all women.
Why women lang?
Hindi, kasi sila yung, sa Taal Volcano kasi most of their husbands are fisher folks. So sila yung naiiwan sa bahay, walang ginagawa. But they are also tour guide before sa island. So lahat nawala yung livelihood nila, even the drying of fish. Ito lang yung nadala nila kasi it's all handmade. So kamay lang yung kailangan nila.
And we are showing photos of the nanays.
Yeah, ang dami na
The
nila.
nanays that Willie has helped. And yun nga, that's how they would bring it to your studio, di ba? Naka-roll.
Naka-roll na
Yung
sila.
award-winning design mo na anak ng tupa.
Anak ng
Meron
tupa.
bang, oo. How was that design inspired? It's so beautiful.
Anak ng tupa kasi, I live in a farm. Tapos may mga tupa kami slowly dying because of plastic waste flown in our property. Tapos nakakain nila. So it's a sad story but
Really?
impactful. Actually, that chair, we can save 15 kilos of plastic waste. So, yun, ang laki ng impact kasi marami tayong pwedeng gawing silya sa mga basurang nakakalat.
And when you buy, nandun yung how much was sequestered, ano?
Yes.
Yeah, you always make it a point to include that.
The story behind it.
How, just to help us visualize, in 1 yard, how much waste goes into 1 yard?
Not 1 yard kasi iba-iba yung sizes eh. So in yung
Siguro
yung
ito.
100 yards namin,
100
yung 100 yards namin, it's 1 kilo. 100 yards, tama. Na large. So, iba-iba kasi yung sizes
Na
namin.
you saved from harming the environment.
Yes,
Yeah.
And you know what's nice
1
is it's
yard.
direct, di ba? Parang you don't need to process it anymore through another machine and create carbon emissions. Parang rekta na eh.
Yes.
It's handmade.
Yeah.
Hugasan lang nila.
Okay. Paano ang proseso? Mahirap ba?
Hindi naman kasi it's not from garbage talaga eh. It's household segregated. So from the source, segregated na siya. So konting linis na lang.
Kasi syempre may mga
Yeah.
cheese pa yan.
Yung mga flavor.
Oil, ganon. Yeah.
Oo. But how can we scale it up pa more? Like in a year's time, ilan ang nasisequester mo?
So far, since I started this, naka 4.4 metric tons na kami since last year. So 2015 yon to...
So times sa isang ton, ilang 1,000? Ano ba? Hindi
mga-
kami major sa math dito. But
mga less than 1 ton pa lang per year. Kasi we also... Yung old uniforms naman, mga 4 metric tons din kami.
Wow.
So mas malaki yung volume ng old uniform actually.
ng tela.
Ng tela.
clothing.
Kasi fashion waste is actually one of the, actually the first, tawag dito, biggest contribution in
Fast fashion.
Yes. So,
Yeah. So you're making an impact for sure, but how can we expand it?
how actually you can also engage individually in your household and then give it to us, but you have to buy back the furniture out of your waste. So that's going to be your impact, diba? Nasa bahay niyo lang.
But on your end, is like you have 93 women right now. Can you still accept more?
More women?
Doing, producing more twine?
Actually,
Or medyo nasa capacity ka na?
yeah, nasa capacity. May expansion will be social franchising. It has to be replicated in different...
That's exactly what I mean. You're open to that. Like
Yes.
another community will make the same thing.
Yeah, in different region, ganon, para different product din.
Any takers so far?
Not yet.
This is the thing legislators should be looking into.
Actually, maraming gusto magpa-adopt. Kaya lang, it has to be holistic kasi, not just the community involvement. It has to be even the marketing, the design.
So there's a
lahat.
lot of, you have to come up with your manual.
Yes.
That's para madali nang i-replicate.
Yes.
Or we have to replicate Willie? Another Willie.
Yeah, we have to multiply you
Yeah.
100
Are
times.
you willing to train? Example,
Yes, even designers,
someone
di ba?
approaches you from a barangay in the Visayas.
Yes.
So before we let you go, how rewarding has this been for you? And also the challenges as well.
Challenges, when I was starting, maraming challenges. But because of so many opportunities and yun, may mga libreng marketing avenue, yun, it really helped my business grow. And yun, very rewarding siya kasi wala naman naniniwala sa akin before eh. Kasi basura lang yan eh.
Pero ngayon,
without the test, actually, takot sila umupo eh. But I'm confident na it's durable because of the test that...
like magkano ba to bilhin?
Yan is 3,600. Yeah.
Can we buy it? Or kailangan basura namin?
No, you can buy
You can
it
still buy
from, ano naman yan?
Where are the outlets? Saan kami pwede bumili?
Sa yung community waste naman yan. But I can give 15% discount kapag waste mo yung ginamit.
Start collecting na yung...
Start collecting.
Sa gabi kasi...
Mga ilang kilo ang
Si
Andre.
Tutulungan kita.
Tsaka at the same time, you can waste audit your household, di ba? How much you consume in a year for a chair. Mapupuno ka lang nga ng silya sa bahay.
Why not? Kung ganitong kaganda, di ba?
Pwedeng pang regalo din pag sobra ka ng daming silya.
Well, we thank you, Willie, for inspiring us and leading Pawi to collect.
Justifying our late night snacking.
Thank you so much. And more power to you.
Thank you.
Now that was Wilhelmina Garcia, founder of Junk Nut.
And on that note, that's it for the big story this Thursday night. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. and we'll see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.